How y'all doing? Whew. Welcome to the first episode of Gleaning Gems. I am your host, Glean. And today's topic, I'm just going to jump right into it, okay, is spiritual awakening. So, spiritual awakenings, okay, it's a hot topic, all right, as far as our collective is concerned. When I mean collective, I mean earth, earthlings, okay? Humans, human beings, okay? Right now, we are in one of the biggest spiritual awakening times ever, as far as the earth is concerned. Even though you may not fully understand what spiritual awakenings are and what's happening, but you are becoming more conscious of what is happening around you. So, we'll get into the reason why that's even happening in other episodes. Um, and it's funny, how we're here, and I'm starting out with spiritual awakenings because last we left each other, which was July, right? Literally the next day, I was going out for a walk, and my spirit guide said, next topic is perfection. And I was like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, perfection. And I was like, y'all got jokes. So y'all gonna put it on the Virgo to talk about perfection or perfectionism, right? Which makes sense, right? Because you think about a Virgo, they were like, oh, they're so anal, they want everything neat, they're so, well, depends on which Virgo you're talking about. I told you the August and September ones are not the same, but we're not even gonna, hash out that conversation. Okay. As a matter of fact, right now, while I'm recording this, it is October the 1st. We are in Libra season. Okay. The sun is in Libra and the moon is in Virgo. Okay. Ergo, the reason why I'm probably overthinking this episode so much. Okay. But today I said, I'm going to get this done. And by golly, we're going to get it done today. Okay. Not to mention, like I said, we're in Libra season. Shout out to my Libras. Happy birthday to all of my Libras. Okay. Today is October the 1st, like I said. Okay. And the same thing like Virgos, a September Libra and October Libra, two totally different things. Okay. I'm surrounded by Libras, by the way, because I love them. Okay. I have said it. They probably don't believe me. They're like, girl, you love your Virgos so much. I do. But if I had to be trapped on this earth with one other person and one other zodiac sign, I would not choose a Virgo. I know, don't tell nobody. I would not choose a Virgo. No, it would be a Libra. Libras are a vibe, okay? I don't know if it's the truth telling. I don't know if it's the balance. I don't know if it's the fairness, okay? I don't know if it's just the authenticity, the not giving a Fness, okay? I love them down. Me and them go together real bad, okay? Real bad. You know a Libra. If you have one on your team, you know what I'm talking about. They are a different kind of vibe, okay? They're the slightly less neurotic version of a Virgo mixed in with a little bit of chaos, okay? Just a little of just not giving a F, okay? But after, okay, enough with my love song to the Libras. So shout out to all of my Libras. Happy birthday to my babies Ella, Burr, okay, Ermin, Rita. I got so many of y'all. Nana, happy birthday. Okay. And if I missed anyone, I sorry. I so sorry. Okay. I love you. Anyway, back to our scheduled programming. Okay. So when it comes to this episode, right? Out the gate the next day, they were like perfection. And it's so funny because I was literally getting ready to walk outside my house, and I had this stick that I walk with, right? My husband insists that I walk with a stick because this man always thinks that I'm going to get attacked by something. Uh, You need a stick to fend him off. You understand? I'm like, okay, got my stick. Look, got the stick. So I had this stick in my hand. I'm going to fill up my water bottle, and this stick scratches my refrigerator. Now, first of all, if y'all know me and y'all know about this refrigerator, I'm a Virgo. Okay. And on top of it, I got Aquarius in my chart. So, and y'all find out later on what part of the Aquarius I got in my chart. Okay. But so Aquarius folks, they love their technology. Okay. This fridge is state of the art black stainless steel. When I got my house, I bought this thing. It is gorgeous. Okay. I scratched my fridge with the stick. The old me, and when I say the old me, and I said it in the first episode, every single time you see me, you are going to see a new version of me. Literally, if I recorded an episode every single day, it is not the same version of the person that you saw the day before. I'm just letting you know. Okay. Since we last saw each other, if it's been 90 days, there's been 90 versions of me since then. However, I knew I was growing when I looked at that fridge and I said, you know, nothing is ever really stays perfect. Things change, things grow, things evolve. I have, because I would have been having a conniption fit. But I guess this just means I'll be getting a new refrigerator sometime in the future, right? But any other time, I would have been bent out of shape for at least 48 hours. I was able to recover in about 5 minutes, if that. I really don't even feel like it took that long for me to get over it. It was just like, oh well. And that's how I knew. That's how I knew I was growing, right? So if I haven't said this already, to be perfect is not to be without flaws. To be perfect is to be complete, to feel whole. So let's start spiritual awakenings on that note, okay? So while I was doing this episode and getting ready for this episode, 3 months in the making, by the way, okay? Life was life and homie, okay? In my Kodak Black voice, okay? You think everything is ice cream and rainbows, okay? Sometimes life be life and homie. You gotta poke out your chest, okay? Life was life, okay? And as life is still life, okay? However, what I realized during that time, since initiating and even starting this YouTube channel, is again just how much I have grown since the beginning of that channel, and even since the beginning of my own personal spiritual awakening. Now, spiritual awakenings, depending on how you perceive them, you'll realize that you have been having a spiritual awakening of some sort your whole life, okay? Because what does it mean to be spiritual, okay? Spiritual, if you break it down to its root words, its root concepts, okay? Spirit means breath, to breathe. That is the meaning of spirit, okay? Now, spiritual, the act of breathing, okay? As you breathe and as you exist, you change and you evolve. So, really, to be spiritual is to evolve. Nothing more. Nothing more. Yes, you can start carrying around crystals. You can start using gongs, okay? But the act of literally just being and being alive is spiritual because you are a spiritual being in a physical vessel having a physical experience. Okay, that is exactly what it is that you are. Okay, um, and look, um, um, so in the first episode, right, I went back and I listened to it, and I was surprised by how many times I said the word. I really had to ask my spirit guides, like, sis, like, what you got going on? And they were like, oh, that was your inner child. And I was like, oh, really? They're like, yeah, that's your inner child. That's how she channels. And I said, huh. So that's the reason why kids say a lot. And they're like, yeah, that's how children channel. Right. So what we mean by that, and I'm talking about my spirit guides, okay, is that when you have conflicting, opposing, or different ideas and how you fuse them in order for them to make sense because you're confused, co-fusion, okay, you channel, okay. Now, one form of channeling that we are very familiar with is right? But the children's version is um and it just helps you center yourself and your thoughts to bring them together to dissipate the confusion. Make sense? I thought that was an amazing tidbit. Okay. So if you got children and they say all the time, please don't be one of those parents that are like, stop with the M, because I know Haitian parents, it really annoys the crap out of them. And honestly, they are channeling literally from the divine. So stop it. Okay. So spiritual awakening, we broke down spirit, right? Awake, right? Your eyes is open. You are awoke. Okay. Now, we all remember the woke movement from the 90s, right? Okay. But yes and no. Okay. And that's one thing that we are going to get accustomed to because we live in a world of duality, that two things, you know, can be simultaneously right. Remember the first episode too? It makes two make a thing go right. Remember that? And you know how people always say two wrongs don't make a right? But what happens when two rights come together? It gives you an alternate perception, right? So two things can exist and be true at the same time and be different. Okay? So to be awake is the opposite of being asleep, right? So one other concept that I kind of struggled with whether I was going to include into this episode or not was ascension, right? Because it's another term that's being thrown out there when it comes to spiritual awakenings. I feel that they are very closely related, okay? However, they are two separate things. So coming to an episode near you, ascension, okay? So awakening. If you got knocked out right now, you would be sleep, slump, right? You got knocked out smoky, right? So you are aware. You become aware of your breath. You become aware of your mortality, your life, right? So what has been happening or what has happened to you in the past that has made you more spiritually aware? So, for example, for me, moving out of my mother's house, having children, being in a relationship, death, these are all low key, high key spiritual awakenings. They make you more aware of your life. They make you make you more aware of how it is that you're living your life, who you're living your life with, the people that you have around you, the relationships, everything, right? So, our collective, we went through a massive spiritual awakening due to the events of the most recent years, COVID-19. Okay. That was literally like a hard reset. Okay. Literally, source hit the power button and it was like reset. Okay. Um, People were huddled in their homes, scared for their lives. I don't know about y'all, but I know I was. Okay. And I didn't even get to be home. Okay. There were a lot of people that were home. They got to be in their houses with their children and their spouses. Work was put on pause. Children weren't going to school. Like, honey, the vid is out here in these streets. Do you hear people out here legit catching the vapors? Okay. I was an essential worker. Okay. Lean Farm D at your service. Okay. I was in the trap house, and the trap house did not close. Okay. The trap house was bumping. Okay. All those medications that y'all needed, that was me. Yeah. And my peoples. Right. That was us. Okay. Um, but what I came to realize during that time was how much I wanted to be home like everybody else. Like everybody else was enjoying themselves, even though they were scared, but they were like, I got a blanket, I'm watching TV, I'm relaxing. And me, I'm stressing. Okay. However, during that time, as far as working, business was booming. I was growing and I was learning at an exponential rate. Okay. Your good sis was getting an education in life and in business, okay, during that time. But once everything started to die down, all of a sudden I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I loved my job. I promise you, I loved what I did. Okay, I loved my patients. I loved the interaction. I loved being with the employees that I worked with, my coworkers. I loved everything about it. The bureaucracy and everything else above me. Let's not talk about that. But other than that, what I was doing, I loved it. But just from one day to another, it felt like it just didn't resonate anymore. It was like, I don't want to. I don't want to do this. And I knew it would not be satisfied by me just finding another job because like how you good one day and all of a sudden the next day you're like, I'm Gucci, I'm good off y'all. No, it don't work that way. So I said, okay, you know what? I need to figure this out. I need to figure out what changed before I move to my next job. And what happened was I evolved. And that's what's happened to a lot of people. They were in their houses with people and their husbands and their wives and their children. And some people discovered that they did not like them folks. Some people grew closer, some people grew apart. Um, some people got divorced. Uh, COVID-19, there was a lot of death. There was an insane amount of death. Okay. And it wasn't just in the beginning, it was in the beginning, it was in the middle, and it was in the end. Okay. And people were left trying to figure out and pick up the pieces after so much rapid change, right? So we had to rapidly change, and it put a different level of stress upon us, right? So with me, when it came to my job, I realized that part of why I became so unhappy was I started living in the movie Groundhog Day. You know that movie with Bill Murray? Okay. If you don't know about that movie, I suggest you watch that movie. Okay. It may resonate for you. Okay. Bill Murray is this mild mannered man that realizes that he essentially is living the same day over and over again. Okay. But with me, I wasn't living the same day over and over again, but I was hiring the same employee with a different face over and over again. It was the weirdest freaking thing. I was just like, okay, this person came through, they had their situations, things didn't work out. Okay, boom, they moved on. Hired another person. Okay, totally different other person. But you're like, dang, you remind me of someone. By the time it got to the third person, I was like, wait, hold up. What is going on? What is going on? How is it that I am hiring the same exact person, okay, with the same exact qualities and things that in the end are what essentially this person could not stay at the job. Like I just couldn't understand it for the life of me. So I said, the only common denominator is me. So first I had to take radical responsibility for what was going on in my life. I said, okay, sis, it has to be you. I mean, who else did it? You did. You hired every single last one of them. So it's something about you and it's something about your energy. It's something that you're doing that is attracting the same exact person every single time. And at the same time, right, this was happening at work. And at the same time, I was home and I had this different longing for a more spiritual, and when I say spiritual, I'm talking something beyond myself, right? Something beyond the physical, okay, that I wanted to connect with. And I didn't want to connect with religion, right? Or at least the past religions that I had associated myself with. Told you about the Jehovah Witness and the Christianity. Like, okay, I'm good off that shtick. We're good. So the only other one that made sense was Voodu, right? Because I'm Haitian, right? And I say it like that because as a Haitian, that's how you say it. Voodu, okay? Not voodoo, Voodu, okay? So I decided to dive a little bit deeper. It has always interested me, even as a child. Like, um, that my first encounter with voodooism, it was with my husband. When I met him, his family and the family that he was in had a different belief system and exposure than mine. So when I went to his house, I, saw folks that were practicing voodoo, right? And I was like, this is beautiful. And to know these people, to now develop intimate relationships, them, you're like, why, why does, why do people have a negative connotation of voodoo? Because this is real nice. This is beautiful. Like there's no other way for me to explain it. Like you hear that drum beat drop, baby. You're like, hey, okay, all right. You start hearing the chants, you know, you really take into account and hear and listen. And mind you, I'm born here in America, but I speak fluent Creole. So every song I'm paying attention to what it is that I'm hearing, right? And I'm like, this the words, the history, the struggle, the rawness of what it is that's even being conveyed in this music and in these songs, like, it's beautiful. There's just no other way for me to describe it other than beautiful, right? So that's when my interest peaked as far as voodoo. But voodoo is such a, you could say, I'm not going to say closed practice, but it is such a word of mouth and such a, what seemed like gate kept type of religion. You really couldn't find much, you know. I wasn't interested in to the point where I was going crazy researching everything on YouTube or whatever. I was just like, hey, I like to assist. I like to go to the party, you know. I want to go to the fete. Okay. So they would have these dances, you know, they call it a dance. And you know, you come through, they have the different mumbos, all right, which are the priestesses, right? And they have the wargas, which are the priests, you know, for lack of a better term, that come through and they're dancing and they're performing ceremonies and they're singing individual chants for the different loas, okay, which are the different gods. Not to go too much off topic, but yeah, my interest now at the time I was 42 peeked back into this. So I said, you know what? This is a part of me. You know, whether my my mother chose not to go into it and my father chose not to, you know, expose me to it. This is still essentially a part of me. So, and I've had an interest in it and maybe this could be the missing key, you know, to what it is that I'm longing to feel complete. Remember perfection? Okay. So I get me a spiritual teacher. Okay. My sister introduces me to him. Okay. And he had these classes on WhatsApp that we would go into, and I would learn about the different pieces of this spiritual practice, right? And man, pig in mud. When I told you, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Wow. Oh, this is so cool. So now, you know, I'm getting into ancestor veneration. I'm setting up altars, you know, I'm like, this the move, dude. This is where it's at right now. Like this is the piece of me that I was missing, right? You know? And things start happening. Okay. And what I mean by things start happening, things of the supernatural nature start happening. And it's not to say now that you really think about it that these things haven't always happened to you. But like I said, because now you are in your breath and because now you are aware, you notice them. You're more cognizant of it. And you're like, huh. So, what was happening to me at the job, right? I was trauma bonding. Okay. I have been through some traumatic things as far as my childhood was concerned. So, anytime I saw somebody that was remotely going through something that I felt or vibrated that was similar, you know, because it was something that I had not essentially resolved in myself, I was attracting that energy towards me. But because I was in the midst of evolving and changing as a person, it could have been what ultimately attracted that person to me, but it wasn't enough to keep that person around me, right? Because at the same time, I'm like, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, you're going through something. All right. I'm going to work with you. And anybody that's ever worked with me, okay, will understand. I am one of the most understanding people that you will ever have as far as a boss is concerned. I don't even like using the word boss, but hey, you know, if we gonna use the word boss, you know, I'm one of the bosses. Like, cause a boss gonna make sure everybody eat. That's me. Okay. Um, but this But to a certain extent, it would be like, okay, no. All right, I know you have situation going on. Understood. Provided you grace on first occasion, provided you grace on second occasion, third, okay, third time, now we have a pattern. These are not isolated incidents. This is a way in which you operate, okay? And I'm running a business here at the end of the day. So, no, right? And these people, because, and it's so crazy because you keep it so real and you keep it so funky with people. Like, I never had to terminate or fire anyone. Literally, these people would just resign, right? Because if you keep it a buck with somebody all the way through, like, hey, man, look here. I understand you going through some things, you know what I'm saying? And I can tell you what your options are, but right now, where we're at, we have a failure to communicate, right? Okay, we got a business to run, you know? So we're at an impasse here. You know what you got to do, and I know what I got to do. So what's popping? Everybody would have been like, all right, man, peace out, you know? And, but it's crazy. As these people were leaving out the door, they would shit on my name. Like, how in front of my face you telling me, yo, I'm the best boss you ever had. I'm mad cool, this, that, and the third. But when you leaving, right, because you feel some kind of way, because I legit told you the truth, right? You're like, oh, I felt like, she tried to blame me. Like, what? What? So guess what happened, right? Head honcho above me, all right? At least that's what they thought they were. Came through and was like, oh, we need to talk. We need to talk about the culture of this place. And I was like, excuse me? Culture? Because the way you saying it is as if I'm on some fuck shit. Do you understand? Like, that's one thing Glean don't play about is her integrity. We're not gonna play those games because I don't get down like that. Okay. Why you gotta lie, Craig? I ain't gotta lie, Craig. Okay. I ain't gotta lie. All right. I stand 10 toes on mine. So I was so upset that my integrity was being questioned. Mind you, this person was out in California. They're flying in because they're going to tell me about the culture of this place based off of people exiting, right? Exiting the place. So, friends, I was so tight, I ain't even eat that day. You know how you're so mad? You're like, I can't even put, let me drink a little tea. And like my mug, ain't it pretty? I was so tight. I was like, you got me messed up. So I didn't eat. But because I didn't eat, I gained so much clarity. And I felt so good that I didn't eat for a second day. Do you know it took this person, I think it was 2 days. I want to say it was 2 days, 2 or 3 days max. Or they came in on the third day, right? I had not eaten from the time they said, oh, they pulling up. I said, say let's come through. Honey, I just started an impromptu fast because that's how tight I was, right? And because of the pandemic and the amount of stress that I had been in and standing on my feet, I had a foot, okay? I had a foot that was fucked up, okay? It was my right foot. My right foot, I developed plantar fasciitis, just out of the clear blue sky, okay? My foot was killing me. Went to the doctor, podiatrist. I'm gonna tell you, I'm spending money in copays, over 500 some odd dollars, to figure out what is wrong with my foot. Okay. You're like, why is she telling me about her foot? Hold up, friend. I promise you, there's a reason why I'm telling y'all this story. So then, man comes in, right? Questions my questions my integrity. Me. Throat chakra tuned up, fired up. Your girl been fasting for 3 days. Okay, she ready. She ready to. How dare you? No, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hove, bitch. Play with me. So I was telling him, like, look here, I foster community here. I foster sisterhood. I know people are helping people. We are down for each other. Do you know what it took for us to run this pharmacy? And when I say us, it was just me and one other technician that had been there from the beginning. Like, do you know how long what it takes in order for us to come here and bust this out? Like, technically, it's supposed to be 4 people in here. Okay, half the time it's just the 2 of us. Do you know the amount of synergy, the amount of goodwill, the amount of actually having to like each other and care for each other as people in order for us to get this job done? So don't come to me about that. You ask the people that are here. Ask the people that I interact with on a regular basis how I get down. I challenge you. I go ahead, but don't tell me about the person that's walking out the door and the person that's walking out the door voluntarily. Excusez-moi, je fous de jouer avec moi. Merde, right? Translation coming, right? So I gave that man a piece of my mind, like literally. Gave him a piece of my freaking mind. And I felt so much better. I was like, oh, spoke my truth. How dare you question my integrity? How dare you question my intentions? As if I'm over here doing something malicious to these people. No. They came to me at a time in which they needed help. I helped them to the best of my ability. And when it was no longer feasible, I told them the truth and they were on their way. Guess what? La vérité qu'on offensé. You know what that means? The truth sometimes offends people. Okay? And guess what? On their way out, they couldn't say it to my face. But, people are petty. Whatever. It is what it is. But haven't you been working with me for 5 years? Right? So I got that off my chest, y'all. I was like, psh, play with me. He was like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God. You seem like you're a little upset because you were coming at me. Yeah, I did. Don't play with me. Do not play with me. Okay? She keeps it really cute. She keeps it really demure until you play with her. Okay? But then after that man left, I realized that my foot did not hurt for the past 2 days. What? Pandemic started in 2019, right? When this conversation had went down, it was toward the latter part of 2022, like around September. I had been suffering in pain for almost 3 years with this foot pain. Okay? 2 days of fasting and telling this man off, my foot stopped hurting. I was like, what's going on here? So that brings us on to the next segue of this episode, right? So when it comes to a spiritual awakening, many things will happen. So let's break it down from a mind, body, and soul perspective, right? So first things first, the mind. In the mind, you may have what we called a dark night of the soul, right? Now, this terminology is something that has been used in spirituality, and you may hear it on the internet. But I personally first heard of the dark night of the soul in a book. It's called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Okay, excellent book. Highly recommend. Okay, it is a It's called The Alchemist, by the way. I don't know if I said it already, but this is a book very much talking about a spiritual awakening. And no, that's a lie. Damn it. It wasn't in that book. Same author. It's in another book. It's called Brita. Hey, right? I'm not perfect, but I'll catch myself. It's in another book of his called Brita. Okay. And the dark night of the soul is you really essentially start asking yourself very deep existential questions. You start saying, like, who am I? What am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose in life? Um, what do I want to do with my life? Is this fulfilling? These are the types of things that start questioning as far as the mind is concerned. Okay. On top of it, what other things that happened when it comes to the mind is that you start to get, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, you become very sensitive to your environment. Okay. Like with me, I'm a Virgo, right? We're always going to come back to the Virgo. Virgos operate in chaos very, very well. That's why people think like they're like such neat freaks, because it's like we can see the chaos in front of us and we're like, oh, that's going to go there and that's going to go there. And we could do this and we'll rearrange it 10 million times until it's just perfectly right for us, you know? But this chaos, as far as what I had operated in as since the beginning of the pandemic, no longer was a thing for me. I was like, pineapples, this too much. Like, why are they making so much noise? Like, what's going on? Like, I could all of a sudden I just couldn't focus. I was in my job that I was happy coming into, dealing with the focus, and then all of a sudden it was just like, I want to I want to go into a corner. I can't take it anymore. I felt like I was going crazy. I felt like I was losing my shit. There's just no other way to say it, you know. You you have this deep desire and need for solitude. Okay. So this is where, between what was going on at work and me starting out with this new spiritual advisor, that I started on the road to meditation. Okay. And my God, game changer. Now, prior to me having this spiritual advisor, my only experience with meditation was just one time. And this was years, like 2010. I had sat down one day, literally like on some shits and giggles in my condo back in Miami before I had even moved to Georgia. And I was still doing undergrad. And I said, you know, I'm so stressed out. I have so many things going on. They say meditation is a thing that helps you, like, you know, find your zen, you know, so I'm going to try it, right? Like, why not? Popped in some earbuds, went on YouTube, meditation music, set an alarm. I'm like, I'm going to meditate for an hour. Really ambitious, first time out meditating, right? Most people are like, man, I can't sit still for 5 minutes. I was like, I'm gonna sit for an hour. You know, when the alarm goes off, if I'm able to even sit this long, whatever. Would you believe I sat down? This music started playing. And before I knew it, I heard the alarm go. I was like, this shit is busted. Ain't no way I sat down for 60 minutes and 60 minutes is over already. And literally, I checked the time, an hour had went by. This was my very first and only time meditating. So we'll dive deep into what happened that day, but you know, I hit the zone because I had no preconceived notions of what it was. I was no resistance. I was totally open to it, baby. When I tell you I dropped into the void, baby, I dropped into the void. Okay. And real quick. All right. So meditation, I knew it was a thing that I could do just off of that one experience. And here I am, fast forward 12, 13 years later. So I said, okay, meditation is my thing, right? I've done it before. It's really good at it. Let's go ahead and try this again. So I started meditating. I made it a part of my routine. I woke up extra early. I used to get up at 6. Now I'm like, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I'm not gonna go crazy trying to do hour meditations or whatever the case may be, but a little 30 minutes, little, I wanted to say diddy bop. They be ruining stuff for us, you know what I'm saying? But my little 30-minute diddy bop, shoot, right? And man, the balance, the peace, I was like, oh, it doesn't feel so jarring to be in this environment anymore. So I didn't necessarily change my environment immediately, but I changed the quality of my thoughts and I changed my mind, okay, by meditation. Uh, Next thing that ensued was exercise, right? The body. So another part of ascension, well, let me not say ascension, spiritual awakenings, okay, when it comes to the body, is you start to feel all kinds of things, okay? So one thing that had happened to me, which was like every time I speak about this and I think about this story, look at me cracking my knuckles. Um, every time I think about this, it cracks me up because I had gone to this voodoo party. Okay, my sister-in-law, she had threw one party for her 40th birthday out in Florida. I lived in Georgia. So we were like, hey man, going out there to support her, Glean always love a little good clang clang. Okay. And I'm gonna let y'all in. Okay, this is a little thing that me and my homegirl Carnegie got going on, right? She's Haitian as well. But when we first found out about voodoo parties, right? We couldn't just literally just be saying voodoo around people because I've been, oh, voodoo, oh my God, right? So we came up with our own little thing. We call it a clang clang because clang cymbals, cha-chas, maracas, drums, whatever, right? So when y'all hear clang clang, y'all already know it's tea, okay? So I went to this clang clang, right? Great time. I recorded video, came back. So every time I wanted to relive it, I would play, the little videos or whatever. But the honest thing, what happened every time I played this video? I would hear like it would reverberate in my ear. Like I'm trying to describe it right now, and it's like I still don't have the words to describe it, right? It's like I would hear the drum and I would hear the cymbal, but something was going on in my inner ear, right? Like see, this is one of those things you need Creole. The English language does not suffice, okay, in order to describe what was going on. Okay, okay, it respond in my ear. Okay, it's like the sound. I'm not just hearing it; it's inside my ear. Okay, probably what people would describe as tinnitus, right, from a medical standpoint, right? I told you I'm a super Virgo, so I'm logical as fuck, right? So I'm over here like, girl, you got tinnitus. So I had to start looking at these blood pressure medications that I was taking, right? Because at the time I was on 2 blood pressure medications. Your boy was stressed, okay? bugging and thugging, okay, in the trap house, all pandemic long. So I'm like, it must be the medication. But I realized that the only time this thing happened is when I was listening to that voodoo video. I was like, it's the darndest thing, ain't it? What's going on? And then it started happening outside of me watching this video. I'd be in the shower and I would hear it in my ear, like bloop, 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 bloop. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Child, when I tell you, I thought I was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I thought I was losing my shit, y'all. I was like, who you gonna tell? Doctor. So, whenever there's running water, I hear some shit bubbling in my ear. Ma'am, what are you smoking? What are you on? What do you have going on? Hey, brother, I'm just telling you what is happening to me. Okay? I'm just telling you. And it got so out of control. Like people were talking out here. Bloop, 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 bloop. The water's running. Bloop, 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 bloop in my ear. I was just like, what is going on? So I was like, okay, this must be some kind of a sign because at this point, I'm listening. I have the spiritual advisor. I'm going through the gambit of things. I'm meditating. Baby, stuff is happening in meditation. I ain't gonna start telling y'all what started happening in meditation now. Okay. So I'm like, this is something. But as I continued to meditate, it it got under control, right? So I did my research and I came to find out that literally I was hearing my energy in my body. Again, we almost an hour in. I could kill you. I could do story time for days. Okay. So you will have different things that will happen to you as far as your body is concerned. Okay. You will have pain. Okay. Um, but at the same time, because pain, let's just get this out here, pain is not normal in the body. Okay. We have become so conditioned to pain mentally, physically, and spiritually that we think that it is a part of life. Okay. However, once you start going through a spiritual awakening and you have a period where you become pain free and it kind of introduces itself back into your body, you're like, whoa, 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 what's going on? All the pain was gone. So, literally, I had a spontaneous healing of my body. I know, y'all. Look, I promise you I ain't fucking crazy. I promise you. I started having this spontaneous healing of my body after 3 months of meditating on a regular. Okay. Right now we're in October 2024. I can tell you since January 1st, 2023, I have only missed 2 days of meditation. But because I had to think about this now. When I started meditating in January, the spontaneous healing kicked in like in February. Not even 90 days, like within a month and change of me meditating on the regular, right? So I would be sleeping and I would be awoken by the most excruciating pain in my foot, the most excruciating pain in my right shoulder. Now, my right shoulder, this was my bum shoulder. Okay. This was always considered a bad shoulder. Okay. First time I threw out the shoulder, I was in 5th grade, fighting behind my school. Okay. This little girl tried me. Okay. She tried me. I was tutoring her. And, because I always been that kid, right? And she felt some kind of way because another peer of hers was teaching her. Long story short, okay, your boy had to throw hands, okay? So I had to throw hands in the alley down the block from 136, okay? Shout out Queens, right? And I threw a punch. Baby, the whole thing went down like a limp noodle. I was like, oh, what's going on? Okay, like what's going on? I was like, I had to pop that sucker back in and keep it pushing. You understand? I had to go for mine. Mama ain't raised no punk, because Haitians, I don't send you to school to fight, but if somebody hits you, you're supposed to hit them back. Do you understand? You're supposed to fight them, because if you don't fight them, I'm going to fight you. Who's going to fight her? Nah, I said the cat. Okay, so she had to go down. But ever since then, the shoulder was jacked up. Then I was doing construction throughout the arm again. I mean, this shoulder just been through some things. Okay, so this shoulder would pop out of socket on a regular basis. Like it was a thing. It would just sometimes, especially if I wasn't working out and the muscles around it weren't built up strong, like I literally could throw out my shoulder at any given moment. All of a sudden, I'm sleeping, I'm waking up, like excruciating pain in my arm, excruciating pain in my excuse me, pardon. Okay. What the fuck? Right? I'm not even gonna edit that out. Um right? Excruciating pain in my foot. And I would have like and I typed for a very long time, so I had carpal tunnel in my hands. I used to work with tools, excruciating pain in my hands. So because I knew the places where I was having these pains, I was like, these are places where I've always had problems in my body. Spontaneous healing. There you have it. Just healed myself, y'all. All of a sudden. Blood pressure, I was on 2 medications. All of a sudden, my blood pressure just started going off the charts. Off the charts. And mind you, I'm working inside of a clinic, right? So I would check my blood pressure every day because, responsible doctor, right? I check my blood pressure, it's normal. I took my meds for the day. I take my meds for the day, then all of a sudden I'd feel tired and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, let me go check my blood pressure. Blood pressure bottoming out. I'm like, dude, maybe I need to back off the dose of my blood pressure. So I just had to literally, I'm a pharmacist. I'm like, okay, let me back off the dose. Let me take half, maybe it got to a point I couldn't take nothing. Because I kept taking it, blood pressure would drop it like it's hot. But there would be points too where it would just shoot up. It would shoot up. Like if I would have walked into an ER, they would have been like, ma'am, you're having a stroke. But the next thing comes in, the soul. So sometimes what happens with a spiritual awakening, you have a psychic awakening. Okay. Now, I have always been tapped in, tuned in, turned on to a certain degree. Do you understand? Let's just say, okay, me and my homegirl, we used to always call it my dirty Haitian mouth, right? I'd be like, hey, because Haitians would say, hey, with your drug salute for me. Because there's certain people that they could speak some shit over your life real quick, right? And I've always been one of those people. That's why words I never I never take them lightly. Let me drink a little something. Right? So I've always been that type of person. Like, I know I have an employee of mine. She'd be sitting there and she'd be stressed out, looking crazy. Friend be like, his patients are driving me nuts. And I'm like, hey sis, go and walk to the store. Here, take a little $10. Go get your little scratch off. Go get your little soda, little monster. Okay? Get back in the game. Go get a little walk, a little sunlight. Come back ready to jump right in. Okay? Friend would come back. She'd be like, you know, I just want $50. And I'm telling you, not once, multiple times. I'd be sitting there and I'm like, I haven't seen Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Mr. Blah, blah, blah walks in 30 seconds later. So and so hasn't picked up their medication today. They normally would have called me by blah. Ring. Next call. Mr. So and so. Okay. I've always been that person. Okay. I'm Caribbean. I have dreams, right? Right? Everybody's like, I had a dream, right? Now, granted, I didn't have dreams for everybody and anybody. To be honest with you, I used to dream very frequently when I was younger, but I kind of went dormant, because of what was going on with me as far as my childhood was concerned and um, the stress that I was going through at the time. Okay. And it was time for me to essentially go night night, to go dormant for a little while. Okay. And then awaken at 42. Right. So I would have dreams, especially for my husband. Right. He's really um, until like my children and later on until I started awakening, I would have dreams or psychic premonition dreams for other people, right? But I would always have them for him and they would be spot on, so much so that I would have these dreams and I would tell him, or I would have these feelings, right? Now, Virgos, I'm gonna need y'all to listen to y'all gut, okay? Because that's where we normally feel it right here in our stomach, right here. But I am clairsentient, right? So when you hear about the clairs, you hear clairvoyant, you hear clairaudient, um, clairaudient. You got to think of all the the voices. I mean, all of the senses, right? So clairaudient, clairvoyant, um, clear smelling. I can't. I think it's like clear olfactory or something of that nature. I don't want to tell lies. Um, there's even clear tasting, right? All of the senses, there is a heightened, clearer spiritual aspect to it, right? Um, I have all of them, right? But do you, the way that life was, I didn't really know what that meant, right? And then one that I became aware of during my spiritual ascension and doing research and things of that nature, as far as the different clairs and what was going on, because especially what was going on in my ear, I was like, what the heck is going on there? Like, I don't hear no voices, but I keep hearing this blip, 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 this thing going on in my ear. Like, what's going on? So there's another one, which is clairsentient, which is clear feeling, right? So sometimes I would get this, and very rarely, but it would just be like impending doom. There's no other way for me to explain it. Like something bad is about to happen, right? And I've had, you know, two or three major occasions in my life where it was like, yeah, shit is going down. Okay. But all of these senses, which kind of were like, eh, They would sprinkle themselves throughout my life. Now all of a sudden they were like, what's up? We all coming online. It's popping. Okay. Like I went from, being a muggle to being a Harry Potter character, like from one day to the next. It was crazy. Okay. Um, so another thing that happened, so if you had your own little Claire witchy little psychic oracle dream, smelling, tasting, vision, that's so Raven moments, okay? And it was just kind of like, I do a little shine, a little something that happens, just pops through. Mine's usually before my major spiritual awakening, let's just say, it would just happening whenever you could say mortal danger. Okay. Like I was asleep at the time, but they're like, hey, Smokey, something about to go down. I need you to wake up. Okay. I need you to pay attention. Something's going down. Okay. And you know, so you get heightened intuition, new senses come online, okay? Existing senses, existing senses heighten, okay? And yeah. For lack of a better term, that's what happens during a spiritual awakening. Not with everyone. It all depends on what it is that you are meant to do in this life, okay? To the degree of what and how they come online and what comes online, because there are some people that only have one, there's some people that only have two, and they never go to like their fullest capacity. And we will talk in other shows about that, but um I feel like I've already said too much. Like I've been talking too much, right? But we're almost done, right? So what's the medicine? Okay. Really, right? What I say. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience. And to be in the spirit and to breathe and to be aware is being aware of your changing. So, what you need to do is evolve. You need to change. You need to become aware of what it is that you like and you don't like. Okay. And change accordingly. Okay. Now, how do you know that you are on the right path? It will sound very foolish and overly simplistic. However, it is the best all encompassing answer that I can give you is that you have to follow your bliss. You have to follow your happiness. You have to follow what makes you feel good. Okay? Simple sounds very simple, right? Easier said than done, but not really. With the right guidance and tuning into yourself, meditation. And meditation, I know that's my shtick. Okay. Okay, I get it. Not everybody can do that. But meditation is really just mindfulness. Okay. It's when you drop into a zone of actively, you're actively paying attention to your thoughts and the thoughts that you are keeping. And once you become aware of the thoughts that you are keeping, you become aware of thoughts that you like and thoughts that you don't like, right? And the way that you get rid of the thoughts that you don't like is you don't focus on them, you become aware of them, you watch them, but you focus on the good thoughts and creating and having the good thoughts more often. So, ways that you can practice mindfulness, there are so many ways, like gardening, art, poetry, journaling, walking, exercising. Um, hmm, let me see what else. I wrote some stuff down just in case I forgot. Yoga, right? Yoga, big one. Um, whatever brings you peace, okay? That is what you should focus on. Um, and that's the beginning of honing in and getting on the path of ascension, which will be our next episode and our next topic. Um, because our internal compass, our soul, which sits at the seat of our heart, okay, which is source energy, God, okay, that energy is set to love and joy. So if you want to make contact with the God in you, you need to find what makes you happy, okay? And to evolve, okay? Evolve means to, in Latin, okay? In Latin, the word is evolver, okay? Evolve. But the word evolve in Latin means to unravel, unroll, unravel. What do you mean? So you have to unlearn, unravel, and sometimes even fall apart. Your world, or the world as you know it, that has been built on programming, religion, other people's judgments, ideas of what you should and should not be, the roles that you take on as a mother, a daughter, a sister, a cousin, um, a wife. You have to reevaluate all of these roles and see how much of that was given to you, how much of it is actually you. Like, who are you at the end of the day once you strip away all of these roles that you take on and that have been put upon you? And after you unravel, you slowly take what makes you happy, what resonates with you, with your soul, your joy, your bliss, and you reconstruct yourself with what is your own personal sense of what joy looks like, your own perfection, your own completeness, what that looks like. Um, so that's it, folks. Ba-deep, ba-deep, ba-deep. That's all, folks. That's the medicine. Now we will dive deep further episodes um, about other ways to evolve and follow your bliss and to continue on past awakening, right? After you wake up, what's next, right? After evolving, what are you evolving to, right? You become a more, from a simple, you become a more complex human being after you unravel now, okay? And you become awake and you raise your consciousness, okay? Which is what's happening on the earth right now. We're in a rapid um, ascension cycle, okay? And we will dive deep into that in the next episode as far as what is ascension and what does that mean, 3D versus 5D. But I thank you again for your time. I appreciate you guys coming through. Okay, and until next time, happy eclipse tomorrow. May the odds be in your favor.